Welcome to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast.
Good morning, Hoopballers, and welcome to another edition of Hoopball's DFS Today. I am your host, Santino and I am joined by our Friday superstar and Aaron Asmus. How you doing tonight, Aaron?
Doing really good. I'd be doing a lot better if Andre Drummond didn't put up 33 and 22, but we move on to the next slate.
Yeah, he had himself a game. He grabbed a lot of weird blocks that counted as rebounds. Mitch Robinson got hurt for briefly, and then he dominated in that pretty predictably. But, yeah, he went off tonight. And, yeah, you're right. We go on to the next one.
Yeah.
This is going to be a pretty good slate. This is your January 16th edition on Saturday. We have 6 games, but this slate is broken into two different contests. So we have a 2-game slate, and then we have a 4-game slate. So it's going to be a little bit different. We don't have that showdown, which I'm glad that we have a little bit more options and an actual normalcy of a slate on Saturday, because me and you always have that showdown, and then we get into a normal slate. And it's still pretty low on the amount of games because of cancellations. We just saw another one on Friday that just happened right before tip-off, about an hour before, and then we already had the Suns and a couple other people get canceled, the Wizards. So here we are, and we might be – you never know at this rate. We might get another one. I'm assuming if one's going to get canceled, I'm looking right at Philadelphia and Memphis because Memphis played Minnesota in their last game, and they were supposed to play again on Friday as in a rematch, but it didn't happen because Towns and a couple other people but we know Karl Anthony Towns tested positive, and there was a couple other people out for health and safety. Now we got to go contact tracing, and Memphis is probably in that protocol right now. So if a game's going to get canceled, book it. It's Sixers, Grizzlies, or someone else because I don't know what's going on this season.
Yeah.
But right before we get into it, I do want to say let's shout out our guys over at MyBookie. And if you're listening to this podcast, you know that I don't like to give my stamp of approval out to just anybody here, but I do love MyBookie. I play it pretty much daily, whether it's the casino or gambling. I'm starting to play a lot more casino games here, mainly single deck black, play a couple hands, win, and leave because I know better, especially on the computer. But they are the only place that I trust to handle my NBA-related bets. Oof, try and say that one fast. The one sportsbook guaranteed to give me the best lines for the national championship. That already happened. The one book that's going to give me the best odds for the NFL playoffs, which are going to be today and tomorrow, and then next weekend, and then in 2 weekends after that, which is going to be awesome. But it's simple to sign up for Hoopball or MyBookie as well. You just sign up by entering the promo code Hoopball. That's HOOPBALL, and get your deposit matched halfway up to $1,000. So head on over to MyBookie if you want to add a little excitement to the sports you love and the games you bet. But Aaron, let's get right into this 2-game slate, man. We got the Houston Rockets at the San Antonio Spurs and Orlando Magic playing on the back end of a back-to-back against the new-look Brooklyn Nets. We don't know exactly what the Nets will look like in the new look because Kyrie Irving will not be playing in this one, and James Harden is currently questionable with the trade pending. I believe he's going to play, but again, that's for we'll see about that. But we'll start with this first game, the Rockets against the Spurs. This is a rematch where the Rockets just won on the last one, and for the Rockets, they're pretty much kind of banged up still in this one. They have John Wall that's out. Daniel House that's out. DeMarcus Cousins is doubtful. Chris Clemens, Broderick Thomas are both out. And Eric Gordon is probably the only one of this group that might play. He is questionable, but probably looking more closer to doubtful than questionable like DeMarcus Cousins is. And on the San Antonio Spurs, we have Keita Bates-Diop is out. Drew Eubanks is out. Quandre Witherspoon is out. And Derek White is out. The line in this one, I believe they have this one up. The line is I don't see one up now. I just thought I saw it earlier, but I did not. They just have a -7 line for the Spurs, but they don't have an over-under now, which is weird because we know most of the people that are already out. Maybe they're just waiting on if Victor Oladipo can play, but I don't think he might. We'll see about that one. He's also in that trade. But let's go on to the Rocket side, man. And what are you looking here? We already have a lot of usage gone. I guess it is up to Victor Oladipo and Eric Gordon to see if we can go back to the well on some of these real cheap guys.
Yeah, I think you said it. This is kind of surprisingly a pretty decent 2-game slate, especially if we get word that James Harden is going to play. I think you can do some really creative things. But I think you go right back to the well on just about all these guys. Jayshawn Tate is the first guy I would look at 4,700. He showed really great point forward skills that I didn't really know he had in his tool bag in the last
Me neither. I did not expect that.
He had 10 assists, and he looked super comfortable with the ball, and he was driving and dishing really effectively. And Rockets might have found themselves a little player here. Like I was just not expecting kind of that point forward. I knew he was kind of like a 3-and-D hustle guy. He works hard on the floor, but I definitely was not expecting that level of proficiency as a passer. So I think that role is right there for him again. Even if Eric Gordon does play, at this point we're not expecting Oladipo to play, and with Cousins out, who he just soaks up at almost every possession when he's in the game for his 18 to 22 minutes. It's just probably the top 3 to 4 guys that we expect to lead this team in usage are not going to be playing for this game. So I really like Jayshawn Tate at 4,700. And then Christian Wood, once again, he kind of showed you why at the end of last season, where we were paying these similar tags for him. We paid 7,700 in the last slate, and the guy is just good. He's just a dang good offensive player, and he's going to need to be that again if the Rockets want to keep this game close. And I think they are. It's a little pricey at 8,700, but we also can expect some pretty decent value with these Houston guys. So I think you can fit Wood pretty comfortably in at 8,700.
Yeah, I don't mind Wood either. He just had a great game against these guys. And if we get word that Victor Oladipo is not playing, whether Eric Gordon plays or not, if Victor Oladipo doesn't play, that's a big usage guy right there. And I don't expect him to. Maybe I'm wrong. There's been a lot of curveballs out there lately, so don't take that for gospel. But I don't expect him to play, and Christian Wood at 87 is not a bad target if he's not there. If Eric Gordon plays, 5,300, love that price tag for this guy. He's going to be the primary ball handler probably and take a lot of shots anytime he could shoot with this team. If he doesn't play, we can go back to the well on Ben McLemore. He had an underwhelming game last one, but for 3,600, if people are turned off on him in this one, I think that's a very good price tag, especially considering that we're probably going to want to get at least one of the superstars on Brooklyn. So right. I like Ben there. I expect a lot more from him than what he did last game. Sterling Brown, another guy, only went to 4,600. He did really well last game, and if Eric Gordon and Oladipo aren't there, he's going to be starting at point guard and playing a ton of minutes again. He could play anywhere from the 1, 2, or 3. And you mentioned Tate, 4,700. Yeah, if those two guys aren't there, he's going to play regardless, but if those two guys aren't there, that just gives him more ball handling and usage opportunities. So another guy you can target. This Houston team is we're hoping that at least Oladipo doesn't play. And if Gordon doesn't play, that's cool too, because you're getting a lot of usage and a lot of cheap plays on here for Houston to help you put in your top tier superstars. So that's where I'd be looking at. And I don't mind Wood either. But yeah, where are you looking at in San Antonio on the Spurs side? They surprisingly lost to this team last time. Do you think they come back and with the vengeance in this one?
I mean, I think so. The Spurs aren't quite yet out of the playoffs. I think I saw a crazy. I don't think anyone actually is. I saw a crazy stat where I think 28 teams had won 40% of their games or something along those lines. So there's just not The normal disparity we're used to in the NBA doesn't seem to be quite as prevalent this year, where there's just overwhelmingly dominant teams and just the bottom 10 or so are just completely garbage. But this is just a super winnable game for them. So I really expect them kind of maybe to extend their starters a little bit and try to really get the win in this one. First spot I would look as I think LaMarcus Aldridge has an excellent matchup at 6,800 against Christian Wood. He's been more secure than I figured coming back from injury. He's been over 30 minutes in just about every game outside of those first couple. And I expect Pop to keep him around that range. And, he was not good in this matchup. So there's some really good fade recency bias with him. And it's a very reasonable price tag at 6,800. And he has the multiple position eligibility at power forward center. So I think he's probably the most reasonable price tag. Dejounte Murray is finally getting to a point where he's getting really, really hard to play at 7,800. That's almost priced to perfection with him. I loved him down when he was 6.8, 6.5, 6.8 range, but you're getting to the point where I would need somebody out for me to feel comfortable playing 7.8K for Dejounte Murray. And he does contribute in just every category, almost better than just about any point guard in the league, but just a little too expensive for me. Keldon Johnson, kind of the same idea. He's been in this 6K range, low 6K range. He's up to 6.7. That's his highest price tag of the season. I think it's a good matchup for him. He's kind of the guy Pop is the most comfortable really overextending his minutes. But again, just a little pricey. And I got a feeling we're going to be wanting to pay for the Brooklyn studs in the next game. So I think Aldridge is, if I'm going anywhere, I'm going Aldridge. And for more balanced builds, I love these Spurs guys if you're fading the Brooklyn Stars, but I think I want to prioritize the Brooklyn guys over the mid-range here.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Murray, this is a good matchup for him, and I wanted to put him in more lineups, but at 7.8, you're right, he's kind of maxing out where he's too much to where I want to play him. Now, that's a lot of money for him. I wish he was closer to, if he was closer to 7K or 6.9, 7.1, then I would feel more comfortable. But at 7.8, it's kind of pushing the line, if not passing it, of where I feel comfortable playing him. DeRozan, not bad play, but I'd rather just get Christian Wood, knowing that there's no one he's really fighting for touches if he wants those touches. So I'm not going to really go there either. Keldon Johnson and Aldridge are looking at me, but you're right. I know I want to get some Brooklyn guys in here, especially if both of them play. If both of them play, probably going to not have much exposure to any of these starters on San Antonio. If Harden does not miss, then I'll look more closer at Aldridge and Keldon Johnson. Don't want to totally chase Keldon's big game in the last one, but I still think that's him and Aldridge are both always close to me on which one I want to go with. And it all depends on, do I want another center option or do I want a small forward option? So I don't mind either. But if I'm going to play anybody of these guys and I'm going with the two big guys, I'm looking closer at a Patty Mills and a Rudy Gay type of guys. Maybe Jakob Poeltl, just because he's so cheap now. I know he's barely playing any minutes, but if they come back with a vengeance and this game turns ugly, Poeltl should play hopefully 20 minutes, and at 3,200, I know he'll bring back value at 21 minutes. But yeah, I'm mainly looking at Patty Mills and Rudy Gay if I'm playing anybody here, because I know I'm going to get a ton of exposure in this next game. So I'm with you, man. Waste no time. Let's jump right into this Orlando Brooklyn game. And we do have a spread for this one. We have a 220.5 over under, and we have a whopping Nets home favorite at giving 14 points. So Vegas definitely thinks that James Harden's going to play this one, or else 14 points is crazy. You have no Kyrie, no LeVert, no Allen, If you have no Harden, there's no way. Yeah, I said a lot of no's, but there's no way that they're giving 14 points to the Magic. I know the Magic just got blown out by the Celtics, but that's a lot of points to give somebody. So I think Vegas expects Harden to play, and I'm going to run with that and expect Harden to play as well. But let's start with the Magic side. On the injury report, we don't have an injury report for them because they just played tonight. But on the net side, we have Dinwiddie, Kyrie, Claxton, and they're all out, and Harden is questionable. I'll start with the Magic on here. Vucevic, this is a pretty good matchup for him. We thought last night was a good matchup too, and he kind of didn't do so great. They got blown out, so I can't blame him. But I don't think I can play him here. I'm just gonna want to play hard. I want to play the new toys in Harden and Durant, and I think everybody else wants to play them too. So at 9,500, I'm just gonna pay up. And if I don't pay up, I'll probably just go Christian Wood's a solid fallback option, also at 87, who's a little bit cheaper. On this side, Aaron Gordon, he might be matched up directly on KD, and KD doesn't look like he missed one beat. If I blinked and was watching KD before he got hurt, and I just opened my eyes and I saw him now, I don't think there's anything different. He just has a different jersey. That's it. He looks exactly the same. The effortless motions that he's always done. He just makes everything look easy. I don't see anything wrong with him. I really don't want to play any Aaron Gordon on this one either. As far as Cole Anthony, 6K is kind of maxing out his upside here. He had a decent game tonight, but I'm just not in there either. I don't think Evan Fournier and Michael Carter-Williams, those are going to be tricky for me. If Michael Carter-Williams plays and he's ready to go at 4,400, he's definitely in my player pool because he should be seeing 30 minutes as a starting point guard on this team when he's healthy. He's pushed Cole Anthony back to a bench role, and Cole Anthony will probably play on ball, off ball. I know they played him just on ball when Fultz was here, but they'll need him more. So if Carter-Williams plays, that's a good price tag for him. And Fournier, that's not a bad price tag for him either. They're going to need his scoring. I'm just not so sure that – I think Carter-Williams is closer than Fournier. So I'll have to look at that and see what happens. But Kem Birch, if Harden and Durant are playing and Vegas is saying that this is going to be a 14-point spread, Kem Birch should see a lot of minutes. There's no Mo Bamba right now. And at 4,100 in a good matchup against the backup bigs for Brooklyn, which are depleted right now, I really like Kem Birch in this one if we expect a blowout scenario. And him and Carter-Williams are probably my two favorite plays on this squad. Where are you looking at here?
You kind of stole my thunder with Kem Birch a little bit. I was going to come with him for as kind of a potentially lower-owned tournament option to kind of fit in Harden and Durant. But I really like the idea. You know, the Magic are on the second night of a back-to-back. They got blown out tonight. And there's just not a whole lot of, I guess, resistance on that. On
Good
that
word. I like
bench. And like, I think this is just a really great context where you can get potentially 24, 25 minutes out of Kem Birch, which, you know, I think he can pay off pretty handsomely. So I really, outside of that though, there's not a whole lot. Again, Gary Clark is just the epitome of, he's going to go stand in the corner and shoot six threes and grab 4 rebounds, and you kind of hope he makes 4 of them for, 18 fantasy points or so. Not really interested there, especially with Aaron Gordon back. Dwayne Bacon, James Ennis, they kind of do the same exact thing. They'll grab a couple of rebounds. They shoot threes. And then the rest of their guys are just a little overpriced for me. Cole Anthony, ever since he had that, I think it was against Houston where it came out, where I just can't play him, unfortunately. Just the way I look at, DFS plays, just in terms of a bell curve where, you have your median projection, and then, you have your kind of your 15% outlier outcomes in the positive direction, which is like overtime, or he's playing really well and they don't take him off the floor for 35, 40 minutes. And unfortunately, I just don't think he has that, which just severely limits him as a play for me. And it's just a little too expensive, I think, in this matchup. So I'm definitely out on Cole Anthony. Yeah, that's about it. I think Michael Carter Williams he has really good positional eligibility, point guard, small forward. So I think he's a guy if you need the value, if you need the savings. But that there's also the guys on Houston who are probably much better minutes floor than Carter Williams. So other than Kem Birch, not really too interested, unfortunately, on this 2-game slate.
Yeah, I'm with you. And on the Nets side, I think you guys know exactly where we're going with this one. On the Nets, if Harden plays, I want me some James Harden, I want me some Kevin Durant, and I want me some DeAndre Jordan. I want the guys who wanted to play together, and I want to see how they act in the first game. And maybe we don't get peak Harden, maybe we don't get peak Durant, but it's a 2-game slate. And there's going to be so much value on that Houston team, and there's some value elsewhere that point for point, no one's going to touch these guys if they're even somewhat close. So I'm definitely taking Durant. I'm definitely taking Harden if they're in there. And DeAndre Jordan at 4,500, knowing that there's no Jared Allen now, he's got to play as long as this game's close. The last one he played 28 minutes. If he's getting in the mid-25s, 26, he's going to bring back pretty good value for you. I can bank on 20-plus points for him. He does what he does. He's going to get low-end points. He's going to grab you rebounds, block a shot or two, do the little things, and he's probably going to be amped up knowing that James Harden's there as well, and they're getting their next superstar. So I'm going to go there, and there. And then I don't really know if I'm going to touch too much. I think there's more value out there to be had. Though if you wanted to look, I guess we'll see who makes the lineup. Maybe Jeff Green gets an extra run, but I just think it's going to go those 3 guys for me, and then I'll make everybody or build the rest of my lineup around the other 3 teams.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think Jeff Green is a little stronger of a play for me, just with the small forward, power forward eligibility. And I think he's going to end up being like a 28 to 32 minute per game guy for them, even when they're fully ready to go. And he's kind of one of the guys I think can take some of that, whatever is left over from Harden and Durant usage wise. So I mean, it's not an exciting play, but he's still only just 3,900. The minutes floor has been surprisingly consistent: 29, 34, 25, 25, and 32 in the last game. I don't think he has a huge ceiling by any means, but these are the kind of plays if you want to jam both Harden, Durant, and potentially, or like a Christian Wood. If you want to get the expensive plays, you got to play a guy like Jeff Green, 3,900.
I like it. So we just knocked out this 2-game slate, man, but we still have a 4-game slate. It's really weird how this one's working out, and I'm glad we don't have that stupid showdown. I don't like those showdowns. We always get stuck with those. But let's jump on, right before we jump on actually to this next 4-game slate, which is going to start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, then 8, and then the last game at 10 p.m. I want to throw out a quick shout out to our guys over at Manscaped and to all the ball handlers out there. Before you throw on your team's gear, make sure you take care of your below the waist grooming. Our partners at Manscaped are here to save your boys from taking on a double team of nagging defenders so you can stay clean and take care of yourself where it matters most. Manscaped is here to sink the competition and deliver the best tools for your below the waist grooming experience. If you haven't heard about it already, the Lawnmower 3.0 is simply the best hygiene tool for the modern man because the ceramic blade and skin-safe technology, your snags will be reduced. The Perfect Package 3.0 is a great package, and the Lawnmower 3.0 comes with it, and it also comes with a cordless body trimmer, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag for you to use when you're done quarantining. Perfect Package 3.0 also comes with the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver. Guys, get 20% off and free shipping with the code hoopball20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the promo code hoopball20. That's HOOPBALL20. And when things get hairy in the fourth quarter, make sure to call on Manscaped in the clutch time. And now, my friend, let's go on to this 4-game slate. We don't have many spreads for this one, but we will do our best. We have one current spread on the 4-game slate, but we will do our best. We have first game is Charlotte at Toronto, and on the injury report we have Gordon Hayward is questionable. He missed the last one with the left hip strain, but he's questionable in this one. And Cody Zeller still out with that hand fracture. And on the Raptors side, we have Alex Len out for personal reasons, and Patrick McCaw seemingly still rehabbing that knee. Well, let's start with Charlotte, and we now have a changing of the guard, even with Gordon Hayward, whether he plays or not. We have LaMelo Ball at the top of this team's price tag at $7,900, Gordon Hayward at $78, and then Rozier and Graham and PJ Washington in the 6s. But, man, how are you feeling about that? Do you think that's an overprice for LaMelo, or you can still target him here?
Man, it's getting rough. I mean, he's been one of the most popular plays basically every time, probably for the last 2 weeks, honestly. And he kind of just either been destroying the price tag or, hitting value. And without Gordon Hayward in there, you saw it last game where, he only played 26 minutes, but man, did he just controlled everything on offense. And at this point, he's a triple-double threat just about every game now that he touches the floor. I'd expect we'd see a little higher of a minutes ceiling in this one too. The last game was the second night of a back-to-back. So with him a little more fresh, I think we can get up to 30, 31 minutes, which, man, the fantasy point per minute upside he's shown seems kind of crazy to pay the tag, but I at this point, I wouldn't fault you for playing him.
Yeah, and honestly, it's going to matter to me what happens in this Philly-Memphis game, if it plays or doesn't play, because that just shrinks the player pool again for us if that game's off. And then LaMelo Ball becomes a little bit better of a play to me. But at 79, without Hayward, I like it a little bit better. But with Hayward, man, that's getting up there. That's getting up there, and I don't know if I want to go there again. I know people are going to go there, but I might have to hold off on that. He's playing worthy of that price tag, but sometimes when you see guys just jump up like that, it's very hard for me to go back to that well. But outside of him, man, anybody else you can play? I know there's one guy in that power forward center spot that you love, but can you play him, or is there anybody else that you like on this team?
I mean, all my man does is put up 40 fantasy point games just night in and night out. And he's finally getting a little respect from DraftKings. He's been in the mid 6Ks, and but it's just not a great matchup for him. Even though he did have a really strong game in the last one, he does get a little bit of a usage bump with Hayward. Kind of the whole team does that really helps put them on the map, but. Despite Toronto's struggles as a team this year, I still think they're a really good, really great team. And Pascal Siakam and Chris Boucher are not bigs. And OG Anunoby, when he swings down, they're guys I just don't really want to pick on if I can avoid it. And you're kind of getting a ceiling price tag here for him. So if it fits the build, of course I'm always in for PJ Washington, but I think at this point he's not fitting my builds all that well. And then I do think Devontae Graham at just 6K is a really good buy low opportunity. Played 37 minutes, and just his minutes have just been so secure. The Charlotte coach is just not taking him or Rozier off the floor. And I think there's just good upside without Hayward in this offense. Melo, of course, is taking a lot of the possessions and he's handling the ball quite a bit. But I think Graham and Rozier are how this team can keep things close, scoring wise. And eventually, he's going to run into a pretty good shooting game here. He's at 5 for 15, 5 for 14, 7 for 15 is pretty good. 5 for 13, 3 for 15. Like, he starts shooting a little better. I think Graham in his current context is probably closer to like a 7K player than he is a 6K player. So I think Graham would be the other spot I would look as, a potentially lower owned pivot off of Melo, even too at the same position.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't expect you to say that, but I don't mind Graham here either at 6K for the reasons you said. And he's due for a game. And this guy was one of the most improved players last year. He's not having the great start to the season. LaMelo is pretty much stealing his thunder, but he's playing a lot of minutes still, and he's due for a game. He was a big-time scorer last year for this team, so he's due for one. This is a solid matchup for him, especially if Lowry jumps on someone else. Lowry can go on Rozier. Lowry can go on Paul. So I don't mind 6K for him here. Miles Bridges at 45. These are both if Gordon Hayward doesn't play. I think if Hayward plays, I'm not really going to have much exposure to this team in particular. I think the uses that he takes from everybody just enough to where I think all these price tags are pretty good. But if he doesn't play, you get that extra bump, and then I think the price tags are pretty good. But Miles Bridges should get more minutes. I know he didn't start in the last one, but should get more minutes. And at 45, that's not a bad price tag. I know he'll probably be playing against Siakam and Anunoby, but not bad for 45. And again, if Gordon Hayward doesn't play, we just saw a guy named Malik Monk get 23 minutes. This guy can score very quickly. And if he's going to play 23 minutes or 25 minutes without Monk at minimum value, if I'm digging deep and going at minimum baseline 3K, I don't think I'm going to find someone else who can score like that at 3K and get 20-plus minutes. That's only for bargain bin dumpster diving, but he would be a guy and an option if in a pinch I only had 3K left in my lineup.
Yeah, Monk wasn't really on my radar, but I think especially in tournaments, feels really difficult shooting guard spot. That just kind of sucks every night. Yeah, I mean, you would need Hayward out for sure, but I think he's a guy they're going to really want to get going at some point. They invested the lottery pick in him a few years ago. Hasn't really produced on it. I think this is a pretty good opportunity for them to get him to more consistent minutes, and he's definitely in that Lou Williams, J.R. Smith, any name insert chucker here where they're just unconscious and willing to put up 12 shots in 20 minutes, kind of a deal.
Yep. And, man, let's slide over onto this Raptor side. These teams did play each other last game, and we have some people who did pretty well on this side. But where are you looking? And can you go back to Bobby Boucher over here with 69K, who's just doing great, and knowing that there's not a big – Biyombo is big, but he's awkward and kind of goofy, so I don't consider him a big man. But can you go back to him, and could you go back to Siakam and some of these guys here in a really good matchup?
I'm not sure why they don't start him at this point and be like, hey, you're the starter. Here's 32, 33 minutes every night. Like they're just screwing around with Alex Len, Aaron Baines, and playing super small ball with Siakam at the center. It's just like you have this awesome player who's perfect for who's a perfect five for today's NBA, and I just don't understand it. It's just like give this guy 32, 33 minutes every single night and just stop bringing him off the bench. But I cannot, like you said, I don't think you can ask for a better matchup than against Biyombo and just a really weak defensive front court for the Hornets, and their rate is one of the worst defenses in basketball, just one spot ahead of the Kings, unfortunately, for my fandom. But I think there's still upside at this tag. He has power forward center eligibility. And if you just kind of take a quick look at the game logs, it's just like he destroys it just about every single time out. As long as he's getting into that, upper 20s, low 30s minute range, and just the way he profiles, I think there's still meat on that bone at 6,900. So I really wouldn't mind that. And then kind of the only reason I have trepidation on LaMelo Ball at 7,900 is You got Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry basically at the same price tag, who you could probably project for almost like 10 more minutes, like 8 to 10 more minutes than LaMelo on average, like a median projection. You know, these guards just have probably the most secure minutes role of anybody in the NBA. You know, Nurse is just going to roll his starters out huge minutes just about every night in a competitive environment. And I don't know. I think I like Lowry and VanVleet a little more. I think the floor is a little more secure. I know what I'm getting from a minutes expectation. I know I'm getting the two lead offensive options.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Is that Shakespeare?
Nope, it's Geico.
Yeah, that's Shakespeare from one of his unpublished works. Oh, it be not for awakening. Nay, giveth thou the berries. For 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Nope, it's from Geico, because they help save people money.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but Geico got it from Shakespeare.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Melo, it's just a higher range of outcomes, and I think Melo probably gets more ownership than both of these guys in cash and tournaments. So I think my lean is to go with the Toronto guards over Melo. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and I think we could attack a lot of guys on this particular team. I think, but Bobby Boucher, I just love saying that. I think even though he jumped all the way up to 69, I think he's still in a good matchup here, and he's in play for me. And yeah, I do like VanVleet and Lowry. Is particularly VanVleet more than LaMelo Ball, and I'd rather just pay an extra $100 and get VanVleet. In the last two games, VanVleet is shooting 10 of 23 from the field and 7 of 22 from three. He's a very streaky type of guy, and he took 20 shots and 15 threes against this Hornets team in the last game. He only made 6 and 5. 5 of his 6 shots were made were threes. He scored 31 DraftKings points. But you change a couple of those shots. When he's on, he's on, and he's very streaky. I think after 2 off games, he usually gets on a couple of those on games, and I think this is in a perfect spot for him. So I do think he has higher upside than LaMelo with the more secure minutes, and that's always a big thing. Outside of them two, I like OG in this one as well at 55. I think that's a fairly good price tag. I think he can put up another 30 points, bring you back some solid value there, a little over 5x, near 6x value, with some slight upside because he is more physical. And then if they don't really, without Alex Len, they can put him more at the 4, move Siakam more at the 5. They only played Aaron Baines in 8 minutes in the last one in the first matchup with these guys. So I think that's something that they're trying to do, play more Boucher, play Siakam more at the 5 when they can, especially when PJ Washington goes there, and then move OG down too. So I like a lot of these guys on this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this quite a bit just since the restart, that this Raptors team is just so good for fantasy purposes, because we know exactly who's going to get the shots, we know who's going to get the minutes, and just when we can get competitive game environments and good matchups, it's just Yahtzee. It's exactly what you look for: opportunity, minutes, usage, great context. I want to applaud you for playing basically any of the five key Raptors guys in this spot.
I like it. And let's go on to this next one, Philly, Memphis. I want to say let's not spend a ton of time on this one because it's very likely to get canceled after Memphis just played Minnesota, and Minnesota's gone down with cases of COVID. So I don't know if this one's going to be played. I want to say it's going to be – I have a feeling I'm leaning more towards this game doesn't play than it does play, but it's on the docket right now, so let's hit it. But I think we could kind of go a little bit quicker on this one just because we might be talking and it's for nothing. But the Grizzlies don't have an injury report. They were supposed to play tonight and it got canceled last minute, so they don't have one. But the Sixers do have an extensive one. They have Mike Scott, Vincent Poirier, Furkan Korkmaz, who I still can never – I always want to laugh when I say that name, Seth Curry, and Joel Embiid out. Ben Simmons is probable. The big news there is Curry and Embiid are out. We already knew Curry was out, but now Embiid's out. So let's start on there's no spread, by the way, for this game, and it starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So without Embiid, where can we go here? Can you play Simmons or Harris? Can you play the Embiid's backups in either Tony Bradley at the bare minimum or Dwight Howard at 43? Are you looking at any of these guys? Can you go with Milton, who just had a big game, or Maxey, who's been really good lately?
Yeah, I think Simmons is a guy I'd really want to key in on. There's been some comments about, just how Simmons' usage and how they want him to be just a far more involved as a creator. And you kind of look at the game logs, 12, had an off game against Brooklyn, 2, but 12, 6, 11, 8, 7, in his last 8 games or so in terms of assists. And it's just like, man, if he stays in this role, this is a guy who could potentially lead the league in assists, and just the way he contributes in every single category. There's a few extra shots available. That's pretty appealing with his triple-double upside. In general, though, just Memphis, the way they slow things down quite a bit. I'm not too enthused with this game environment. I think the Atlanta-Portland game later is a far more appealing game environment. But, of course, again, that depends on, maybe one or both of these teams are shorthanded. If Memphis is shorthanded once again, or if this game does play. So I would look at Ben Simmons, especially in tournaments. I really like how they're starting to really key on him as a facilitator. Tobias Harris would usually takes on a much bigger scoring role and like an offensive shooter role when Embiid is off the floor. He makes some sense at 7,500. Other than that, though, I think Shake and Tyrese Maxey are kind of eating into each other a little bit, and they're both a little bit priced up, 5,100, 5,200. If you guess right, that's decent enough, but I'm not too enthused. I'd rather go elsewhere. And then outside of that, everyone else is kind of just an avoid for me.
Right. Yeah, for me, I think we can get some solid value out of the backups in Dwight Howard and Tony Bradley. They're supposed to be playing. This is the first night of a back-to-back, so maybe if this game starts going in one direction or the other, Tony Bradley gets extra minutes. So at 4,300 for Howard and 3K for Tony Bradley, I think there's enough to be had there that justifies both of them can be plays. For me, I don't mind Simmons either. He should be getting more run in this one. Ja's not the greatest defender if he plays. I know he was questionable in the game that got canceled, but he should probably be playing now. I expected him to play at least 1, not 2, if he played at all. In a less than 100% possibly Ja, who wasn't a great defender to begin with. Ben Simmons can have his way with him. He has the size advantage there, so I like paying up the 8-4 for him there. And yeah, I'm not too into everybody else because they all are hit or miss. The usage is going to be spread around. Whoever's hot is going to be shooting and has the hot hand, but I can't rely on too many others out there on this Sixers side as well. But let's go on to the Grizzlies side. We have Ja, who was questionable, like I mentioned, and he is currently still going to be questionable, I assume. And then we have J-Vel at 7. Ja's only 7'6". Where can you go here? If Ja plays, can you play him at 7'6"? Do you love the matchup? Or are you just not playing guys too much against Philly?
No, I don't think you can go to Ja in this spot. We talked about it at length. The Toronto, Charlotte guys, they're all exactly in this price range, 7'6" to 7'9". I would rather play all three of them over Ja in this spot where you have to imagine, especially with how well Tyus Jones has played, they don't bring him back to a full minutes rotation right away. They kind of bring him, my guess is probably like 28 to 30 minutes, somewhere around that range in his first game back. And like you said, Philly is just a tough matchup. Like I watched the Tyler Hero because I played Tyler Hero yesterday. And man, just he had Ben Simmons the entire first quarter, and then Matisse Thybulle once Ben Simmons went to the bench for a breather. They're just so tough on wings and guards that it's just a good mental note that I did happen to watch that game. That, man, I don't want to attack probably two of the better wing defenders in the entire game if I can avoid it. And this slate we can. So I'm not really into Ja at all at that price tag.
All right, man. Yeah, I don't know if I want too much Ja on this one either. There are some point guards later, expensive point guards that are in a fantastic spot against each other. So I'm going to lay off Ja too, knowing Ben Simmons is one of the best defenders in the league, and he's just coming back from an ankle injury. I'm not too thrilled with the price tag. But J-Val is someone that I will give some consideration to. With no Embiid, usually I don't want to target anybody going against Philly if you're a big man. But with no Embiid, that changes things a lot. And I think J-Val is in a pretty solid spot. Even though Dwight Howard is a good defender himself, he's not going to play extensive minutes. And if Morant comes back, just makes opportunities easier for J-Val. So I would look in that direction. But outside of that, if Morant plays, I'm not too sure where I want to go. I don't know. This team hasn't played with him in a while, and everybody's roles are changing, so I'll see what happens with that. I guess I would take another look at Brandon Clark, 63, but I'm not in love with the price tag at the moment. And DeAnthony Melton, if Morant doesn't play at 44, is a guy I'll look at. I'm sorry, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, the big thing with a lot of the Memphis guys is they're all priced for their roles without Ja Morant, with Ja Morant being out for a couple weeks. So you'll see just about everybody get priced down over the next week or so as Ja comes back into his role of 34, 35 minutes, being the top usage guy. And you'll see a lot of these ancillary pieces on the Grizzlies degress in price tag. So it's just not a spot to attack, even on a 4-game slate. You're paying full price. You're paying their full price without Ja, even though Ja is playing into just a really, really good defense. So it's just not a good spot.
All right, man. Let's get on to this next one. And again, we don't have a spread for this one. It's Detroit Pistons at the Miami Heat. The Heat are, and then the reason we don't have a spread for this one, the Pistons haven't played in a couple days, and the Heat are mostly still depleted. For the injury report on the Pistons side, we have Killian Hayes and Frank Jackson are both out. On the Heat side, we have Avery Bradley, Jimmy Butler, and Myers Leonard definitely out. And then we have Bam Adebayo, Goran Dragic, Mo Harkless, Udonis Haslem, and Tyler Hero, all questionable. Everybody is health and safety except for Tyler Hero has neck spasms. That's the only one that we can say is an more body injury type of thing. But let's start with the Detroit Pistons side. And what are you looking at on the Pistons side, man? We have Grant is still 7'4", and he's been just a rock solid. We kind of have a little bit of a discount with him in this one. He was touching almost 8K in the last one. He only put up 34, and now he went back to 7'4". So can you play him in this matchup knowing that the Heat are probably going to be depleted again, knowing that the Heat don't have Jimmy Butler? And can you play anybody else in this one, depending on who's in and who's out on the Heat side?
I mean, you called it. Jeremy Grant was I was just kind of looking through players and going through Basketball Reference and just saw, holy crap, Jeremy Grant's averaging 25 points per game on really, really good efficiency. It's like, I mean, the guy wanted to bet on himself, and it seems like he was right. He was able to handle the increased workload. And you said it. He's just been probably one of the most consistent fantasy options we've had this year. He's getting above 35 minutes in every single game. He's taking a bunch of shots. He's always been a really good defensive blocks and steals guy, even just about everywhere else he's been. And I think this is, especially if Bam Adebayo ends up sitting, I think the matchup does get a little bit worse if Adebayo is in. But if Adebayo does sit, this is not the same Heat defense that we're really scared of, especially with Jimmy Butler out and some of their other key contributors out. So I could get behind it. I haven't played Jeremy Grant very much this year, but you're definitely getting a little bit of a discount, and I can't complain about the offensive role one bit.
Yeah. If for Grant, I think he's a rock solid cash play. Not as better as a tournament, just because the upside is kind of. I mean, he hit 50 2 times, but I don't see him hitting 50 on the regular. Especially, but if Adebayo doesn't play this game, the Heat they won't blow out the Heat. We'll see if I mean Tyler Hero might not play as well, so that could come in. But the Pistons aren't a good team, so I think it's going to stay close regardless. But if Adebayo doesn't play, that helps him and everybody else on this Piston side. But yeah, I think he's a rock solid cash guy. He's just getting 40 points on the regular, and he's bringing back solid value. And I know I can count on him. Like you mentioned, you said he's averaging 25 points a game nearly. That's crazy. I did not expect that to happen. But he's a cash staple right now. And I know he had only 34 points in the last one, but that's still almost 5x value on on one of his worst games. So really like him in this one. Plumlee at 5K, if there's no Adebayo, gets to be a really good matchup for him. There's no one on his size. He's a little bit bigger than Olynyk, and I think he's a little bit better than Olynyk, so I like him at 5K if Adebayo doesn't play. If Adebayo does play, I don't want anything to do with him at this price because that guy is just a lockdown defender. I'll give another look at Josh Jackson. He hasn't been playing the minutes that I wanted him to lately. He did jump back up to 24 in the last one, which is starting to get back on that's where he should be playing. So I'll give him a look on that one at 42 if there's some injuries there. But if Adebayo and Hero and Dragic and they're almost mostly healthy without Butler, I don't know if I really want to touch too many guys on this Pistons side.
Yeah, I think you said it. I think Grant is a guy you play for the floor, not necessarily the ceiling, and everyone else is kind of a little bit of a difficult situation to parse through because there's just too many guys who kind of play in that 24 to 28 minute range, and not a whole lot distinguishes themselves from each other.
Yeah, let's jump on to the Heat side, and I'll take the lead on this one quick. We don't exactly know what they're going to look like. I just read off that injury report. So many people are questionable. We know Bradley, Butler, and Leonard are out, but everybody else is questionable. So it's just a very hard one to sift through. I do want to say, though, all of those pieces that we were able to play a couple times, the Precious, the Gabe Vincent, even Tyler Hero, Olynyk, all these guys got that big price increase. And if this team gets healthy, it's not a team that I want to attack now. If everybody's there besides Butler and Bradley, I mean, I'm not paying $5K to play Gabe Vincent. Tyler Hero at 7-2. It's pushing on the line of I don't really want to. I think he still has upside on there, but I think we just talked about a couple people on Toronto and a couple people around that price tag that I feel more comfortable with. Now Precious is 4.7. If Adebayo plays, you can't play him. It's just this is all going to be very dependent on what news we get later for me to make any educated decisions on who I want to play. But I do know that if they are near full strength, don't really like any of these inflated price tags because they're kind of priced to where they were when they were the only options on the team.
Yeah. No, you said it. I mean, this is a spot you have to wait for news. Thankfully, it's only half an hour after lock, so we should have a pretty good idea if Hero or Vincent or Adebayo, what their status is heading into this game. But, I mean, there's just too many iterations for us to go through right now if Hero's out but Adebayo's in, but what if these two guys are in?
Yeah.
This is just a wait for news, be on the Discord, we'll be able to help you parse through just the Miami information that comes out.
Exactly. And the thing is, everybody is health and safety. Like you mentioned, this starts at 8. The lock starts at 7:30. Everyone sans Tyler Hero is health and safety protocols. I'm assuming there's a 90% chance that we'll know if they cleared the health and safety protocols by then. So we should have the news there. And if you're on the Discord, we can say, okay, now we know who cleared it, who didn't, where the usage, where the value goes. But until then, it's pretty much we could say whatever, and then it just changes on a dime anyway, like we've been doing, which is getting crazy. But before I get into this last one, I do want to stop this podcast for one quick second and quickly, because we need to pause the show for a fun announcement. It's free stuff, guys. Everyone loves free stuff. What's that stuff, you ask? The Bruise Letter is back. Oh, yes, back and fresh for the 2020-2021 NBA season. Our founder, Aaron Bruschi, is writing an email newsletter filled with his most intimate fantasy nuggets. It's exclusive content you cannot find anywhere else. It's not on the website, not on any podcast, not on any social media, only in the email newsletter, and you can sign up to get it for free. Just go to bit.ly/bruiseletter2021 and sign up in 10 seconds. Again, the site is bit.ly/bruiseletter2021. Aaron Bruschi, straight to your inbox. Enjoy. I also want to bring up the Fantasy Pass. So the Fantasy Pass, we know that the draft season is over. We're already almost on week 4 of the NBA regular season. But the Fantasy Pass is still the best deal in the industry at just $4.99 per month. And now that we're into the regular season, there's zero commitment. So sign up for 1 month for $5. If you don't like it, you can cancel. We know you'll love it, but it's always a nice option to have. The Fantasy Pass has everything you'll need to dominate all year. Updated projections, new fantasy appraiser tools, schedule and streaming charts, pickups, drops, and our newest and coolest feature, as Aaron mentioned couple minutes ago, the Hoopball Discord server, where you can all hang out with Hoopball pros around the clock and get one-on-one help with your team. So please do check it out. Head to hoopball-.com and click on the Fantasy Pass ad just below the main media wall. And if you just want to be on the DFS Pass with myself, Aaron, and all of our guys, that is only $199 a month. Just crazy cheap. But now we can get back onto our schedule of programming, Aaron. We have the last game of the night, and it's this one, ding, 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 we actually have a line for. We just went through a bunch of games with no line, but we have one for this one. It's the Atlanta Hawks at the Portland Trail Blazers. The Atlanta Hawks are going to be on a back-to-back. They're currently losing to the Jazz. It's in the fourth quarter. But we have a whopping 237 over-under spread, and the Blazers are 6.5-point home favorites. So let's start with the Hawks. We have Trae Young still under that 9K mark. We have John Collins at 7-1. Clint Capella, who's defying all the odds and playing on back-to-backs at 6-7. But on the injury report, we know that Gallinari is out, Bogdanovic is out, Chris Dunn is out. They don't have an official injury report, so I'm just letting you know. But Rondo came back last night. Onyeka Okongwu came back last night, so they're getting pretty healthy, man. We'll see what happens on the injury report since it's the second game of the back-to-back, but assuming that everybody plays, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, so the first guy I'd really like to go to is Trae Young, I think.
Who?
He's just had a horrible shooting game. He's in the middle of a 1 for 10 with only 4 points in this Utah game that they're getting blown out in. And I want to keep buying. After all these bad games, and everyone's pissed off at him for not playing near to their expectation, and just keep buying this price tag. I don't know exactly if he's going to get into cash builds. I haven't, gone through every iteration yet, but this is the game environment you want to be attacking on this slate. Atlanta and Portland, two teams that have not been particularly all that great on defense, that tend to push the pace. They're pretty good offensive teams with really good offensive guards, and you're buying really low on Trae Young, and I think he's the kind of the gold star tournament play of this slate, in an excellent spot on the second night of a back-to-back. No one's gonna want to do it, but you just keep buying the workload, you keep buying the minutes, and believing that his shot's eventually going to regress to the mean, and once it does, you'll be able to really profit off it.
Yeah, I like that. I'll look at Trae Young at 89, and I'm going to look at his counterpart very much so, as well, as the old adage says. I know it's been 2 years and barely 2 years. I'll say exactly 2 years because they cut their season short last year. But people going against Trae Young, are pretty nice options. But
Yeah.
Trae Young at 89, very good value. Clint Capella, I kind of want to see if he comes out of this game. I'm like at a loss for words now because I did not expect this guy to start playing in back-to-backs like this. He's shooting 8 for 8 tonight, only 25 minutes, but I don't know if he's ready to go again without Jusuf Nurkic and just him and Cantor, who are similar in the paint, grab rebounds type of guy. He blocks shots, Cantor doesn't, but that's not a bad price tag for him. Cantor doesn't play defense whatsoever, so if he can play and he can give you 30 minutes, I think that's a very good, solid price tag there. But outside of him, I can't really trust John Collins yet, and Covington's defense is still good, even though he's not making shots. And all these wings, I usually get them wrong, and I think we have some solid value outside of them. So I'll look at Trae Young, and very hesitant to say yes on Clint Capella, but I'll need to see what the injury report says tomorrow. Well, I think he's in a good spot as well.
Yeah, I mean, versus Enes Kanter, that's just a giant downgrade for the Portland interior defense. Mm-hmm. I think this will be a spot to attack for just kind of any upper tier center in terms of potential just upside scoring potential against Enes Kanter, who's probably the worst defensive center in basketball, if not worst. Probably one pretty darn close to it. Outside of that, though, I think these wings are just
they're solid plays, but for me solid, personally, I always get them wrong. So I'm about in this short season. My correct percentage with those guys is pretty putrid. So I'm just starting to say someone else deal with them. I'll go find the value somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way to keep playing it is just if one fits your build, great. If not, still great. Just kind of.
I like that.
If you have the room for DeAndre Hunter, great, or Huerter or Reddish, just whatever price range you kind of need. I think all these guys are viable plays. The Hawks have shown the whole season that all these guys are going to be involved in the offense to some degree. There's some minutes volatility. Hunter probably has the best minutes security of all these guys. And he's kind of just a little bit of a better fantasy asset because he's really good on the boards and pretty fairly efficient when he scores. But yeah, I think it's just if I need just whatever guy you can slot in to your build makes the most sense.
All right, man. And what we'll do now is we will jump on over to the last team of the night, the Portland Trail Blazers. So I kind of tipped my hand there when I said I'm going to be playing a lot of Damian Lillard, probably more so than Trae Young at the same price, and maybe I'll play both of them. I think that's a good run it back type of thing there too. And they are two of the top 3 highest priced guys on the slate, but they aren't. I mean, they are the 2 top highest guys because Joel Embiid's not playing, but they're not crazy expensive. It's 9.2 and 8.9, so you could still. It's not like taking a Giannis and Luka and then just a bunch of 3.5K type guys. You still have some good chunk of money left over to not handicap yourself. But yeah, man, I'll let you take this one. Kind of put my Dame Lillard stamp in there, and I'll let you run with the rest of the team.
So I think the intriguing thing with this Portland team is CJ McCollum has really, really taken a leap this year. That's kind of maybe gone a little bit unnoticed in terms of his offensive role. He's really boosted his just everywhere. Just his usage rate, his assist rate has gone significantly up from 19 to 27% this year. His usage rate was 25.9 to 28.6 this season. He's been far more efficient this season with a 54% true shooting to 61% this season. So he's been one of those few guys who's been able to extend their minutes or their workload while increasing their efficiency, which is almost unheard of for a guy who's been in the league for 7 years. And just the minutes roll it's kind of very similar. These Portland guys are kind of like the Toronto Raptors guys, where you just know in a competitive game environment you're getting, a minimum 34 to 35 minutes with some of the best usage rates in the entire NBA. So I think CJ it's kind of weird to say to consider him over Dame Lillard, but if that extra $900 does get you something, I don't mind it in the slightest, especially considering the fact that he gives you the shooting guard eligibility depending on your build. And you kind of said it already with Dame, just anyone against Trae Young, especially, it just has just such a huge boost on offense. And 9,200 is kind of a pretty good price tag for what we've been expecting for Dame for a lot of the season. I think it's his low point in the last 10 games or so. So both of these guys are firmly in play for me. I'm leaning a little bit towards CJ, though. I think maybe just for a little bit of the price discount. And I believe in the narrative a little bit, just what we've been seeing through the first 11, 12 games, that Dame is taking just a little bit of a slight step back and letting CJ handle a larger portion of the workload.
Yeah, and I see that too. And McCollum, and I was never one to play McCollum before this year, but he's making it seem, making it known that he should be in more lineups. And he's playing great. To me, it just comes down to the Trae Young factor, and he's going to be on Lillard a lot. I think they're going to want to have a big shootout. These two guys are two of the two guys in Steph Curry that can shoot from probably 3/4 court. I know Lillard said he's comfortable shooting from the logo in an NBA game. I think Trae Young wants to say the same, and Steph Curry. But I think if they wanted to, and just shooting around at the gym, they could put it closer to 3/4 court. I just think anyone going against Dame or Trae is a very good matchup. Kind of similar to anyone going against Lillard gets a little boost. But I would rather pay the 9 and hope we get one of those big Lillard games. Outside of them two, though, Enes Kanter, just mentioned him, how we can attack him because he's a very bad defensive center. But without Nurkic in this game and for the foreseeable future at 5,600, this guy I can lock him in for a double-double. If he's seeing 25 minutes to 30 minutes a game, a double-double is going to come easy, maybe an assist or two. I don't expect any blocks or steals, but he should be able to put up his 25, 30 DK points and bring you back some solid value there with just 25 minutes or so, because this guy just grabs rebounds. Outside of them, there's not too much that's been consistent to where I want to like, even though the matchup is pretty good. I would want to target people in this matchup, but I'm just not comfortable on who it's going to be. Maybe Gary Trent Jr. at 3,500 could be the guy that I can look to. He tends to get hot, but it's very, very out of nowhere when it happens. But Harry Giles is a guy that I might look at. Enes Kanter's not gonna. I don't know if he'll play 30 plus minutes, so he might cap out at 30. Giles should get the rest of those center minutes, and that's something, especially against a big team, and that's something that I think at 3,200 you got some upside there. Mm-hmm. That's another bargain bin type of dig there.
Yeah, I could talk a little bit more about the Portland ancillary guys. Part of that CJ boost and usage too is just really affected everybody else on the team, and with Nurkic not playing as many minutes this year, the Blazers have been so hugely condensed into CJ and Dame taking pretty much every possession in terms of either creation or just pure shot volume. So, like a lot of these other guys, Robert Covington, he's had such a really good minutes role, but just the shots haven't been there, and he's always a guy we depended on, block steals and hitting threes. But unfortunately, you kind of want him even at pretty reasonable tag at 4,800. You want him around 10 to 12 shots, and that hasn't been consistent whatsoever this season. And kind of the same thing goes for just about everyone else on the team. Melo will come in and chuck a little bit, but he's not getting enough minutes to really matter. Derek Jones Jr. just has had no shot volume. He's kind of between like 4 and 7 shots, 4 and 8 shots every game, even though his minutes workload has been fairly decent. Gary Trent, kind of the same problem. Pretty decent shot volume, but he's not getting enough minutes. And if he's not hitting his threes, he's not going to get the value. So that's kind of been this Blazers team. It's just been so condensed into Dame and CJ. And I think with Enes Kanter being the third banana, that's a really good call, especially at just 5,600. If he gets 25 to 26 minutes, he's always been one of the better fantasy point per minute guys. I think he'll be a guy we'll be wondering if we should pay $6.5K for in a week.
I like that. So yeah, that's it for our 2-game and 4-game slate, guys. Aaron, is there anything before we head on out of here that you want to say? Do you have a particular favorite play that you don't want to leave, or you just want to tell everybody, because you are on the Discord tomorrow, everybody tune into the Discord, and Aaron's got you. But is there anything you want to tell these viewers before we head on out of here?
Yeah, I think the big thing this DFS season, we've been talking about it in the Discord a little bit. It's been a really difficult start to the year for everybody in terms of just craziness happening with the slate and really weird blowouts and scores and everything in between. So don't be discouraged if you go on a little bit of a losing streak and you think, I'm never going to win again. I think the biggest thing to remember is really good bankroll management principles, and maybe you take a day off or so and just don't do anything DFS related, and then come back fresh with your good lineup building principles and managing your bankroll well and getting after it. Then I think this grind gets really, really real pretty quickly, especially if you go on a 4 or 5 day losing streak to begin the year. So I think that's probably the big thing, is just remember, hey, it's been a grind. It's been really difficult for everybody. Just keep after it and keep remembering, what makes you a good DFS player.
All right, man. I think you said it perfectly. And guys, take that advice and let's run with it. But as always, it was a pleasure with you, Aaron. And thank you guys for tuning in. And we will catch you again tomorrow. I believe it's Mike. And you will get a new voice. I'm not going to ruin the surprise for you guys, but you're going to get a new voice with Mike tomorrow. So thank you again for the January 16th edition of Hoopball's DFS Today. I'm Santino Cocone. You can find me on Twitter at Santino Cocone. And my friend here, and Aaron Asmus, you can find him at Asmus Sports. That's ASMUS SPORTS. Did I get that one right?
That's it.
Nice. I got it right. And we will catch you again. Us two will catch you again next Friday. So thank you guys for tuning in, and have a great night.